gassed out. Whoa! Oh, that's a little gassy. Jeez. Yuck. Good morning, everyone. Hope you're all having a wonderful day today. Today, we're going to be taking a look at a very interesting item. This is the Rifle Speed Adjustable Gas Block. But before we get into that, if you want to help me out personally, we will be very shortly moving out of Washington State and restarting Focus Shooting LLC because, of course, Washington is going a little bit crazy right now. Now, the best way to financially support me is by signing up for a 2-week free trial of Aura. There will be a link to that in the description and the pinned comment down below, so go ahead and check that out. It is no purchase necessary, so you can cancel it right away, cancel it 2 weeks later, or keep it forever. My contract is only for the free 2-week trial. So that's the best way to support the channel. On top of that, you can like, share, and subscribe because it is all free and does help me out quite a bit. On top of that, go ahead and comment your favorite adjustable gas block in the comments down below. Now, full disclosure on the Rifle Speed Adjustable Gas Block is I have no relationship with them whatsoever. I'm not really even set up as a dealer for them, though I probably should be. And the reason for that, and part of the reason why I'm doing this video in general, is because I've used no less than 6 of these for customers' builds. I do get requests for them all the time, so I thought I should probably actually use one in my personal builds, get some time on it, do a review on it, to kind of give you guys the lowdown on probably the most expensive and unique adjustable gas block on the market. Starting off with price, these are not cheap. I believe they start at just above $200, and that's not including their proprietary gas tube, which you need to get these to work. These will not work with a standard gas tube. These require a straight gas tube, which they sell as well, bringing up the total package plus shipping and tax to somewhere between $230 and $250 for an adjustable gas block. $250 is basically the cost of a very, very high quality barrel. So this is a big ask, so hopefully it performs up to the task. Now, getting into the basics of the gas block itself before we talk about the very interesting setup that it is currently on. It is a .750 gas block, though they do also offer it in .625 inch variants as well. So for some of your pencil barrels, this is also available for those. This one here has the very, very long adjustment knob because this is a 14.7 carbine length barrel, and you have adjustments all the way from 1 to 12. Now, the claim to fame of the Rifle Speed Adjustable Gas Block is this very long adjustment. You can get them from as short as 0.9 inches, which is this guy right here, and they sell these separately for $80. So depending on if you're putting it on a different build and you want a shorter or a longer one, it's going to cost you again another $80 to switch the size of the adjuster. What that means for you, though, provided you get the correct control knob, which they do have a fitment guide on their website for different barrel lengths, gas system lengths, and handguard lengths, which should, in theory, get you to the right one. However, for one of my customers, I used it and it actually gave me the wrong size, or they accidentally sent me the wrong one. Either way, there was a bit of a mix-up there, so you might need to do a little bit of measuring and guesstimating on your own. For most builds, it's not too big of an issue. This one here that we have on currently is, I believe, the 3.5 inch version, because again, this is a 14.7 carbine length barrel, so the gas block is all the way back here, and then the adjustment knob goes out to just in front of the handguard. Now, the methodology of adjustment is a plunger inside of the gas block that, as you go down through the settings, 12 is the most open and 1 is the most restricting. So as you tighten that in a little bit, it obviously pushes that plunger in to restrict more and more of the gas. Most adjustable gas blocks on the market use a similar restriction methodology with either, again, a plunger or a screw or something like that that physically restricts the flow of gas from your gas port into your gas tube. Again, as far as long-term durability goes, there shouldn't be any issues there as long as the plunger is made of a high-quality material. It is finished in a very nice black nitride, and importantly, these also come with 2 plungers. They come with a more restrictive plunger, which is this model right here, which would actually work better with this gas block, though we'll get into that a little bit later on. And the one on the inside currently is a little bit less restrictive. So depending on what caliber, what gun you're putting these on, you might use the more restrictive plunger or the less restrictive plunger. Taking these apart is very easy. It is 100% toolless. Takes about 10 seconds. Basically, you just screw it all the way out, press in a little detent, and then the adjustment knob just screws off. You can screw on a shorter one, longer one, switch out the plunger, so on and so forth. Very easy to do. Now, another area where Rifle Speed did a really good job is in the gas block retention. So you have 2 set screws, which is fairly standard. They're very high quality set screws, and it comes with the proper Allen key for them. But on top of that, the gas block is pre-drilled for a pin, and it does come with a very substantial pin in the packaging with it. So again, if you're going to put this permanently on a gun, I would recommend to drill that out. You can use a hand drill, though I would recommend always setting it up in a jig and using a drill press for the best results possible. But that is a basically foolproof, bomb-proof way of setting up a gas block, and you're going to want that because, again, this is a very expensive gas block, so you want it to be set in place and not accidentally move on you. Now, they don't mention the exact materials used on the gas block and the control knobs. I would hope they're made out of 4140, 4150, or something similar. They are, though, very nicely finished off in a black nitride, which looks very good and is also very heat resistant, which is very important when we're talking about gas blocks. Overall, with the gas block, you have a very intuitive, easy setup with adjustments from 12 to 1, 12 being the most open, 1 being the most restrictive. You have a very good retention with 2 set screws plus a pin, perfectly fine, no issues there. Unfortunately, it is using a straight gas tube, so you can't use any of your standard gas tubes on it, and you do have to get that from them. Overall, it is very expensive, but now we can talk about how well it works. Now, the caliber ratings for this is all calibers. So 5.56, 7.62 by 39, 300 blackout, 6.8 SPC, 6.5 Grendel, 308, so on and so forth. Anything that you can fit into an AR-15, this will work for and is rated for. Any caliber, any setup, any system, the Rifle Speed gas block is rated for it. Alrighty, so here we have the Rifle Speed gas block on the FN 14-7. This is going to be unsuppressed, very first shot on this upper receiver, setting 12, which is the most open, and then we'll work our way down from there, obviously all the way down until hopefully it stops cycling at some point. All right, for reference, the ammunition we're using is PPU M193. Let's go ahead and get going. A lot of smoke. I did just lube it. Again, this is the first time I've shot it. Setting 11. Still very, very punchy. Setting 10. A lot of ejection on that guy. Setting 9. Setting 8. Starting to get maybe a little something on there. Setting 7. Setting 6. Yeah, we're gonna have to go way down on this because this is pretty overgassed. Setting, is that 5? Setting 4. Setting 3. There we go. Starting to get it. All right. Setting 2. We'll see if this works for it. Clear. All right. Setting 1. The shorter down it goes, the more difficult it becomes to actuate. So you just might need a little bit more force on it. So this is setting 1. All right, that did cycle. Barely. Sent it all the way back. That one there about 330-ish. Go back to setting 2 for a second. And that's about 3 o'clock. So setting 2 is probably your safe setting. And then setting 1 is for really hot ammo, or possibly for suppressed shooting. Alrighty, so now we're on setting 2 suppressed, so we'll go ahead and take a shot with this. That's not bad, that's about 230. So with this, you could definitely run it in setting 2 all the time. Setting 1, I imagine this will be about 330. No, it's about 3 o'clock ejection. So that I am pretty happy with. Now, the calibers that I've used it with the most are going to be 5.56 suppressed and unsuppressed, but I also did use it for several hundred rounds of 308 in a custom magnesium carbon fiber 308, which was a very interesting build that I did for a customer, but that was also utilizing the rifle speed gas block. So I have used it quite a bit, and again, about 6 customer builds and then 1 here in my personal build as well. Now, getting into this specific setup here, this is set up to be as terrible as it possibly could be, and I wanted to see how the rifle speed gas block would handle it. So this is, as I mentioned, this is actually a FN Cold Hammer Forge 14-7 chrome-lined barrel with a carbine length gas system, so think your original M4. The barrel quality by itself is very good. The, gas system length is a little short compared to modern standards. Now, the original gas port size on here was .070, which is perfectly fine. It's a little bit on the punchy side, maybe overgassed to some people, but that wasn't bad enough for me, so I opened it up to a .082, which is absolutely horrific. That, when combined with a suppressor, means you're getting about the gassiest system that you possibly can. You have way too much pressure at the port already with a .082 gas port size, and you have way too much dwell time with about, 8 inches of dwell time, considering, again, it's only a carbine length gas system. That means when you're shooting this suppressed without an adjustable gas block, you're going to get gassed out basically instantaneously, and even with an adjustable gas block, it's pretty bad. Now, as far as being able to mitigate the gas, the adjustable gas block, the rifle speed adjustable gas block, did a very good job, and is certainly, of course, infinitely better than without an adjustable gas block. Keep in mind that we're using the less restrictive plunger, and if we used the more restrictive plunger, it would have performed even better. So basically in the back end, not on this lower, but for the intro that we filmed, we were using just a carbine buffer, carbine spring, and we went through all of the different settings unsuppressed, so 12 all the way down to 1. And really only the last 3 settings were really what we wanted, because again, we're starting with such an overgassed gun. At setting 3, it would eject at about, 2 o'clock, then maybe about 3 o'clock at setting 2, and then setting 1 was all the way back at about 4:30. So I probably wouldn't use setting 1 for unsuppressed shooting. However, when we add a suppressor to the mix, like the YHM Turbo K, which is not a low back pressure can, it's not a super high back pressure can either, but it's certainly, again, not like a flow-through can or anything like that. That one there, even on setting 1, was getting a ton of gas back to the face. Now, keep in mind, if we use the restrictive plunger, instead of being on settings, say, 1 through 3 for suppressed and unsuppressed shooting, we might have been on something like setting 8 through 4 or setting 9 through 3 or something like that, again with a more restrictive setting. So the rifle speed adjustable gas block is definitely capable of getting even a horrific system like this to be under control when using the correct plunger. Now, even with this one, the more open plunger, eventually I switched to a H3 buffer in the back, and that mitigated a lot of the gas, slowing down the bolt enough that a lot of that was venting through the front and, of course, through the BCG itself. Even though you do have a ton of gas in the system, even with the more open plunger, you can still get it to run very well without gassing you out horribly. All of the footage that I put in there in the intro about being horribly gassed out, that was with the carbine buffer, carbine spring with an H3 buffer in the back. It slowed down the bolt enough that you really didn't notice it. So even a, again, horribly overgassed gun, 14.7 carbine length gas, with the rifle speed adjustable gas block, it is absolutely capable of taming a horrible system like this. This was set up to be the worst possible case scenario, something that absolutely needed an adjustable gas block. Now, this might be an exceptional gas block, very adjustable, very intuitive, can be set up for, again, any caliber, any handguard, barrel length, gas system length, so on and so forth. However, at the end of the day, it's still an adjustable gas block, and adjustable gas blocks aren't my favorite. For me personally, it's not really worth spending an extra $200, $250 on a gas block when I could just buy a barrel that is set up properly from the factory, say a Ballistic Advantage Hansen for like $150 retail, and much less than that for me. But one of those is going to give you good performance unsuppressed, decent performance suppressed, maybe throwing a little bit heavier of a buffer in the back, but it certainly doesn't need an adjustable gas block, and the BA Hansen barrels are also factory pinned, which is a very nice feature to have. Oh, jeez. Be a little bit of kick to that guy. At the end of the day, this might be the best adjustable gas block on the market. However, if you're not looking for an adjustable gas block, or you're looking for one that's not quite so expensive, because again, you could buy a Criterion barrel almost for the price that they're charging for this. Is it worth it to you? Possibly. I think it can make sense in a couple more niche applications, like if you're using it for, let's say, a 300 blackout. So you're going between suppressed, unsuppressed, supersonic, and subsonic. And if you want a barrel that runs all of that, maybe you have to open it up a little bit and then use the rifle speed gas block to adjust it. And you want something that is very easy, very intuitive, externally adjustable, so on and so forth. The rifle speed gas block is going to be very good for that. Again, certain calibers, if you're going between, say, 7.62 by 39, subsonic and supersonic, 9 by 39, 308, 65 Creedmoor, anything like that, where you might be throwing a suppressor in the mix part-time, not using it suppressed 100% of the time, you might need it. And if you're somebody who's going to be shooting dedicated suppressed basically 100% of the time, then I wouldn't really recommend it either, just because you might as well go with something like a BRT Easy gas tube, even though those are kind of expensive as well, 60, 70 bucks for a restricted flow gas tube. Or you can go with something like the YHM. They have a suppressor gas block, which basically is the same principle. It just utilizes a smaller hole on the gas block itself to restrict the flow. So again, for dedicated, and this is only like 20 bucks. So for dedicated suppressed builds, I don't think it makes a lot of sense. This is for if you actually need the adjustability. So again, if you're switching between supersonic, subsonic loads, and if you're switching between suppressed and unsuppressed. If that is you and you're willing to drop several $100s on a gas block instead of just getting, a different barrel, and again, you need that adjustability, this probably is the best adjustable gas block on the market. However, value, that is definitely going to be an end user sort of thing. This isn't something I would want to throw on a ton of different builds. Again, it can make sense in more niche applications. And again, it is very nice, but it's one of those things that I don't think makes a whole lot of sense for a lot of people. That being said, I am sure I will still continue to use it in a lot of customers' builds because it is something that is eye-catching, it is intuitive, easy to use, it does work, of course, even in this, horrific system that we have here. So for people who have extra money to spend, it's cool, it's unique, it does what it's supposed to do. It's just, again, very expensive for an adjustable gas block. So with all of that out of the way, guys, let me know what you guys think of the Rifle Speed adjustable gas block in the comments down below, whether or not you think it's worth $200, $250, or maybe you would buy one at, say, $100 if a company just came in right underneath them and undercut them, like I'm sure somebody will eventually. But with all that out of the way, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. I will see you in the next one. Peace off.